Hi children, welcome back to our third class of history. In the last class, we were discussing about the three horizontal divisions of French society. I think you all remember the first stage, second stage and the third stage. Now, although people were divided into three classes and first two classes were highly privileged and the third class, the third stage, they did not have any privilege. That was not enough to start a revolution. People used to suffer. For many centuries they were suffering, and for them it was not a problem at all. They were leading a life of slaves. So just in the name of suffering from the nobles and the priests, they did not rise against the establishment. But some other events are causing a sudden outbreak of revolution. That is what we are going to see here. How people rose up against the establishment, against the rulers. That is how it happened. That is what we are going to see here. And we are seeing people were dried out of paying all sorts of tax to the government, to the church, and to the feudal lords. They have left with no money. They don't have anything. They are leading the life of dogs. Now, in France, this social condition is like this. Then now, what is happening? Now we have to especially remember about the growth of population in France that took place between 1715 and 1789. Between 1715 and 1789. This 89 is very remarkable because that is the year of the outbreak of French Revolution. So during this period, the population of France grew from 23 million to 28 million. In French standard, it was a sudden growth. 23 million means 2 crore 30 lakh. 28 means 2 crore 80 lakh. That means a growth of 50 lakh people within this time. A sudden growth of population. This is causing some unrest in the society. Why? Because they are all depending on traditional methods of cultivation. The harvest is not increasing, but people are increasing. So the food grains became very short. Bread is not at all available for the common people. Whether shortage is there or not, harvest is good or bad, things are available or not, the clergy and the nobles, they don't care. They get everything because they have money. And although the poor people are making all these things, the people of third state are making all these things, they don't get it. So they are again suffering. Starvation is there. So people are totally unrest due to shortage of rice. And again, it was during this period many expeditions are taking place, and the European and not only the feudal system, in towns, guilds were there. People began to manufacture something and sell out. It was a period that manufacturing started in Europe. Manufacturing system, production started, producing things for consumption started in Europe during this time. And when they started small production houses, they employed people, but these people were paid very little. The owners, the employers were paying the people very less. And here during this time, due to the rise of population, what happens? Food grains are becoming short, and when food articles are short, what happens? Prices will go up. But these people are getting the same wage. Their salary is not increasing, but the prices of food is going up. People cannot buy food articles with their payment. So a total unrest is happening in the society in all sense. And to add the miseries, sometimes there is drought, sometimes there is hailstorm. What will happen when there is a drought? Crop failure is there. When there is hailstorm, what do you mean by hailstorm? മഞ്ഞ് വീഴ്ച. ഇപ്പോൾ ചിലപ്പോൾ ഇങ്ങനെ ഹാർവസ്റ്റ് ഒക്കെ റെഡിയായിട്ടിരിക്കുമ്പോഴായിരിക്കും ഭയങ്കരമായിട്ട് മഞ്ഞ് വീണ് എല്ലാം തകർന്നു പോകും. അങ്ങനെ ഫോർ ഓൾ ദീസ് റീസൺസ് സംടൈംസ് there will be crop failure. And whenever there is crop failure, the common people, the poor people have to suffer. So that was then this is leading to a subsistence crisis. The meaning is given there. What do you mean by subsistence crisis? An extreme situation where the basic means of livelihood are endangered. അടിസ്ഥാന ജീവിതത്തിലുള്ള സാധനങ്ങൾ കിട്ടാതെ വരുന്ന അവസ്ഥ, ഒരു സബ്സിസ്റ്റൻസ് ക്രൈസിസ്. നമുക്ക് ജീവിച്ചു പോകാനുള്ള അത്യാവശ്യം നമുക്ക് കഴിക്കാനുള്ള ഫുഡ് പോലും വാങ്ങാൻ വയ്യാത്ത ഒരവസ്ഥ, അതിനാണ് നമ്മൾ സബ്സിസ്റ്റൻസ് ക്രൈസിസ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. അങ്ങനെയൊരു അവസ്ഥയിലോട്ടെത്തുകയാണ്. അപ്പോൾ ദാറ്റ് വാസ് ദി സോഷ്യൽ കണ്ടീഷൻസ് ഇൻ ഫ്രാൻസ് അറ്റ് ദാറ്റ് ടൈം. നൗ the social structure of France is changing. As I told you in the beginning, it was during this time the Europeans were going on expeditions all over the world. നമുക്കറിയാം, around this time English people came to India. Even French people also came to India during 1750s. Europeans went all around the world. And the people who went all around the world were from the third stage. The people with adventurous spirit, they were going in search of unknown land, in search of raw materials, in search of finished products. They are going all around and doing business. So a new system is coming up in Europe. Besides the feudal system, in the small towns are flourishing, towns are growing, and towns are flooded with things imported from foreign countries. The sailors, they are going to India, they are going to China, they are going to Ceylon, and they are going to many other parts of the world, and they are bringing finished clothes and this silk cloth and forest product and so many other things they are bringing. And sometimes they are bringing raw materials and they are manufacturing it in towns. So in this way, the European social structure is totally changing. And this all happens in the middle class, in the third estate. The people from the third estate are doing all these things. Always you remember, when I mention about estate, you remember who are the people belonging to the estate. Okay. And by doing business, the people from third estate, many people from third estate became rich. They became very rich, richer than the nobles. Sometimes they became. But even though they became rich, they are educated, they are talented, they don't have any say in governments. They cannot do anything in government. So they are these people, the rich people, the talented people, the intelligent people of the third estate. They are feeling a sort of unacceptance. See, although they are capable, they are not consulted, they don't have any say in the government, because a system is providing in France, that is a system based on birth. Privileges are given only to nobles and priests, and the people from the third estate, they cannot do anything. They are thinking, see, in the first estate and the second estate, many incapable people are there, but they are enjoying everything. But we are capable, but we don't have the privilege. So they are now thinking about equality. Opportunity should be equal to all. That's what now they are thinking. So when people began to think like this, their thinking was ignited by the Enlightenment thinkers. Enlightenment, I told you in another class. Do you remember? It is Jnanodayam. In Malayalam we can say Jnanodayam. What is that? Thinking method based on reasons. അതായത് ആരെങ്കിലും പറഞ്ഞു കൊടുക്കുന്നത് മാത്രം അവരങ്ങ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു റിട്ടൺ ഡോക്യുമെന്റ് അവർ സ്വീകരിക്കുക. If they cannot understand what they are told to obey, they will not obey. Reasonable thinking now people started. So some thinkers from the past, the Enlightenment period, they also influenced their ideologies. And we have to remember mainly three thinkers from the Enlightenment period. They are John Locke, he was a British thinker. He was born in the year 1632, in the right time of Enlightenment period. And when he grew up, he wrote a thesis, or he wrote a book known as Two Treatises of Government. It's very important, you have to remember the name of the thinker and the name of the book, Two Treatises of Government. Here he is mentioning, and his ideology was that he very straight away denied the doctrine of divinity. Doctrine of divinity. It was a theory that was prevailing at that time. Doctrine. What do you mean by doctrine? Doctrine means theory. Doctrine of divine. What do you mean by that? It was the belief during that time an emperor is appointed by God. So we cannot question his authority. Whatever the king is telling, we have to obey because he is appointed by God. That is doctrine of divine. And also he objected to the absolute power of the monarch. Absolute power of the monarch. That means the power of a king is unlimited. It is not controlled by any other theory or anything else. He can interfere in every field. That is, no one is there to question his authority. Whatever the king is telling, that is the rule, and no other authority can go beyond that. So unlimited power. So here John Locke, he is questioning these two ideas, doctrine of divine and the absolute power of the monarch. So that is clearly questioning in his book, Two Treatises of Government. So here in this chapter, you remember this name and his work, that is Two Treatises of Government, and also you remember the two things that he questioned about the emperor. The rest we shall see in the next class. Thank you.